As for Saturday, I think the vast majority of people that turned up were good, ordinary, decent people who are very, very concerned about what's happening in this country. Well, Elon and I have a relationship. Wouldn't say a very good one. He's generally rather rude about me. It would be nice to get some clarification of what fight meant in that context. If the fight that Musk was talking about was about standing up for our rights of free speech, if it was about fighting in elections to overcome the established parties, then that absolutely is the fight that we're in.
I was going to say, it sounds like you think the Conservative Party is dead and finished for good, and is that true? But I think we know that already. In terms of your other colleagues, you still have high regard for a lot of them. Do you expect any more of them to come over? Are there more conversations going on? And Mr. Farage, if I could get your response to the scenes that we saw over the weekend, the marches, the presence of Tommy Robinson, and in particular, the comments of Elon Musk, fight or die. What do you make of all of that?
So on the first question, I don't think the Conservative Party is dead. I just think it's over as the principal opposition and the principal vehicle of conservatism, the sort of conservatism that I believe in. And I think in reality, it is very unlikely that they're going to recover significantly or soon. And my personal view is ever. So I'm not predicting that there will never be Conservative Party or Conservative MPs. I would hope that colleagues who share my view about the crisis that the country is in and the opportunity that reform offers to save our country at the next election will follow me. In terms of what conversations are underway, I have absolutely no idea, and that's best left to the leader. Nigel, are there other conversations underway?
Thank you. It's very kind of you. But of course, we keep everything under wraps. I mean, when we have negotiations with people, nothing leaks. None of you had a clue that Danny would be joining us today, and that's how we operate, and that's very much how I operate. A quick thought on the Conservative Party. Whether it is the parrot in the Monty Python sketch, I don't know. What I do know is this Conservative Party has zero chance of winning the next general election. Literally zero chance, but Reform genuinely does, and we've led, as I said earlier, for over 100 opinion polls. As for Saturday, I think the vast majority of people that turned up were good, ordinary, decent people who are very, very concerned about what's happening in this country. I've noticed that the wave of flags that started about 3 weeks ago, going up around the country, far from subsiding, from what I could see this weekend, it's accelerating massively. And it is a collective, two fingers up to a British establishment that they feel utterly betrayed by in every single way. So I fully understand why people would go and march. The comments of Elon Musk you asked me about. Well, Elon and I have a relationship. Wouldn't say a very good one. He's generally rather rude about me, even though I do admire him in many ways. It would be nice to get some clarification of what fight meant in that context. And I'll link it back to something that Danny said earlier. We are radical, but we're not revolutionaries. If the fight that Musk was talking about was about standing up for our rights of free speech, if it was about fighting in elections to overcome the established parties, then that absolutely is the fight that we're in. And the reason you asked the question, I think the context of the way the word was used left a degree of ambiguity. Thank you. Carl Dinnan, ITV News.
Thanks very much. Danny has just described Reform as being the new home of conservatism. How then are you going to continue to persuade former Labour voters to vote for you, if that is the case? Danny, I'd like to ask you about something you said in your speech. You said, quite explicitly, Britain is not broken. Are you aware that Nigel has spent the whole summer saying that it is? And finally, Nigel, just a quick one. Do you think Peter Mandelson was worth the risk as US ambassador to the United States?
Oh, gosh. We'll be here all day, Carl, just with you, won't we? Look, you can define conservatism how you want. What is for certain, if you look at those by-election results last Thursday, we are doing very well in the old Labour heartlands because they believe in family, community, country, all right? And what people like Danny have been looking for is a brand of conservatism that's consistently been promised and not delivered. And that's the really important point. As to whether Britain is broken or not, Danny's more bullish than me. He's more optimistic than me. But we both agree on one thing. The state the country's in needs radical change. Tinkering at the edges will not make any difference. And as for Mandy, well, you know, clever bloke, good at what he does. I confronted him face to face when he was European Commissioner. There was no doubt the man was a master of a brief, but a totally catastrophic appointment from day one. A huge political error from Keir Starmer, from Morgan McSweeney, and it looks like one or both of them will fall as a result of that judgment. We will find out more over the course of the coming days, but a catastrophic political error. Francis Reed, Channel 4 News.
Thank you very much. Mr. Kruger, you've previously called reform a destructive force, so I'm wondering what's changed. And secondly, forgive me, you're another Eton boy, Oxbridge graduate. Can you explain to working class voters how you can understand their lives and why it's any different from the Tories? Mr. Farage, you've distanced yourself from Tommy Robinson, but Elon Musk is amplifying him. Will you outright condemn their actions today? And also, what legal means do you think Elon Musk could possibly have in mind in saying that a democratically elected government should be overthrown?
So, reform is a destructive force. It's destructive of the established parties, and I mean that's
a very good pivot. I like that.
I mean, you like it. I have regretted it, and I do, on a personal level, genuinely regret it, because there are some brilliant candidates in my constituency who lost their seats at the council elections to reform at the council elections earlier this year, and you know the fact is, the landscape is changing dramatically. The brutal reality of a first-past-the-post system, though, is that there's only really space for one major party on the right of politics if we are serious about trying to win power on the right, as we should be. And therefore, as I said, I think the flame has passed to a different torch. So what I don't believe, though, is reform is destructive of our country. In fact, quite the reverse. As we've heard, we want to restore the foundations of our country, address the parts of our communities that genuinely are broken, restore families, communities, and our country itself. So it's a creative as well as a destructive force, and I'm very proud to be working with it. On your cheap shot about my education, fair enough. None of us can claim to have personal experience of every experience that people in the country have. I recognise that. Nevertheless, I would say, partly as a constituency MP, but actually more in the work that I've done outside politics. For 10 years, I ran a charity which I still chair, working in prisons and with ex-prisoners. We work with many families at risk. I'm very, very familiar on a personal level with the challenges that so many people in our country face who have lives very different from mine. And I would hope, and the experience shows, in fact, as happened in 2019, when I was so proud with Boris Johnson's achievement to win genuinely a national vote from people from all different sections of society. The good news is the British people do not have quite the same hang-ups as others about where somebody went to school.
Yeah, we're not bothered about. There's no class prejudice in reform. There's no racial prejudice in reform. We don't really care what your sexual preference is or anything else. We couldn't care less about any of it. We're not going to segment people up. But if you're here, you're British, you support the values of this country, you obey the law, you pay your taxes, you're very welcome in our party. And I think one of the things that really shocked people was, without trying to do it, was how diverse our conference was. You know, a real cross-section of society. As far as Mr. Musk's concerned, look, you know, he's been chucking abuse at me now for 6 months, and you want me to return the favour, don't you? Because it's a great headline. I'm just not going to do that. I'm not going to abuse Musk or Tommy Robinson or anything. We're going to get on with building what we're trying to build. Thank you very much indeed.